Hello, everybody. Welcome to Google's AdMob Livestream session today. My name is Prateek, and I work as an AdMob specialist in the AdMob team. For today's agenda, we will be covering over some of AdMob's policies and some of the best practices to keep your account in a good standing. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about why we create these policies and about the Google advertising ecosystem. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Google's digital advertising ecosystem. Our ecosystem comprises of three integral players, and each one of them comprises of an equally important role. Our ecosystem comprises of our advertisers, publishers, and users. Our advertisers are people who make sure that they offer high-quality ads to our publishers to monetize upon. Our publishers, in return, give the landscape to our advertisers for them to showcase their ads. And most importantly, our users, who not only add value to the network, but also help us grow our network. And our job at Google is to make sure that we facilitate this relationship. So why have so many publishers chosen Google AdMob? It's fairly simple and includes four basic benefits. AdMob makes sure that it connects publishers with over 1 million Google advertisers, which in return makes sure that our publishers get high quality ads on their apps and also high fill rates and high eCPMs. AdMob makes sure that only the highest quality ads go live and that our publishers are paid the highest CPCs possible. We also make sure that the ads served on your apps are very high quality and these are reviewed manually as well as by our automated systems. Also, AdMob gives you an opportunity to keep a control of the ads that appear on your app and to block the ads you think that might not be relevant to the content on your app. Similarly, why have millions of advertisers chosen AdMob? Most importantly, as we all know, AdMob is a family-safe network, and we make sure that the advertisers' ads are served on a safe, high-quality network. We make sure that the ads served are very relevant to the content that they're being served upon. AdMob also gives an opportunity to advertisers to optimize their revenue with full transparency, knowing where every dollar spent is going, as well as reach people where it matters using data and insights. And most importantly, why do our users trust the Google Ad Network? As we all know, the Google Ad Network is a family-safe network with family-safe policies, and we make sure that the users are able to see content that is original, informing, and appealing, and is adding a lot of value as well as creating a positive user experience. We also make sure that that on the AdMob platform, the ads are placed in such a way that users are clearly able to distinguish between the ad and the content. All right, so now that we've spoken a little bit about the ecosystem and the rationale behind creating policies on the AdMob platform, let's talk about some of the most common policies. Now, these policies are fairly basic and very easy to implement. The first one being, as we all know, is that do not click on your own ads. Now, what's the rationale behind it? The rationale behind it is that we do not want any advertiser revenue damage or any clicks that are not out of genuine user interest. So do not click on your own ads or ask others to click on them, as your click will not get counted towards your revenue, as well as your account could possibly be flagged for a violation. Think like a user. Now, what do we mean by this? What we mean by this is that make sure you create content that is informing and appealing. And a question to always ask is a user able to find the content that they're looking out for in your app? If the answer is yes, the possibility of your user returning to your app is very high as you're creating a positive user experience. Keep your content family safe and legal. Now, what do we mean by this? What we mean by this is that please do not serve any content which is adult or sexual in nature, as we all know that AdMob is a family safe platform, as well as make sure that your content is owned by you, or if it's not owned by you, you have the legal rights to distribute the same. Place banner ads properly. We want to make sure that ad placements do not lead to any kind of accidental clicks, and hence we ask our developers to place banner ads in such a way that they should not be placed immediately next to interactive elements and app content. For an example, a navigational button, which could possibly cause an accidental click. Also, do not place banner ads with app content that does not overlap with app content. Place interstitial ads at the right moment. Now, What do we really mean by this? Do not place interstitial ads on apps and when exiting apps as interstitials. Please do not surprise users with interstitial ads. We'll also be talking about some examples of better implementation of interstitial ads going down further. Track your traffic. When a developer signs up with AdMob, we expect them to take the onus and responsibility to monitor their traffic. Google's AdMob team has built automated systems as well as has a team of analysts who constantly monitor traffic, which includes clicks and impressions, and detect any kind of anomalies that could be impacting advertiser revenue. We define invalid click as any kind of clicks or impressions that may artificially inflate an advertiser's cost or a publisher's earnings. The best way for a developer to identify invalid clicks is by using the custom URLs channel feature in the AdSense front end, where a developer can see on what kind of traffic are particular pages on their apps receiving. You can, as a second step, you can also use Google Analytics to identify on what kind of traffic is are pages in your app receiving, and how can you block any kind of anomalies or invalid click activities. All right, so now that we've spoken a little about some of our most common policies, let's talk about some of the common triggers of policy warnings and how you can keep your account in a good standing. So some of the common reasons include more ads than content, or as we say, the ad density policy, ad content overlap, interstitial ads leading to accidental clicks, frame, mirror, or scrape content, copyrighted material, sexual content or adult content, explicit text, and violent content. More ads than content, ad density. This is a fairly simple policy. The reason behind this is that when a user gets to your app or a particular page on your app, we want the focus to be on the content and not on the ads. So please make sure that you have more content than ads being served on a particular page in your app. Ad overlapping with app content. Please remember, banner ads should not overlap with app content, as this could possibly lead to accidental clicks as well as a bad user experience. If an app has a scrolling menu, banner ads should not pop up or be placed over the content of the menu. Interstitial ads leading to accidental clicks. Now, before we get into some examples of policy violations for interstitial ads leading to accidental clicks, let's talk about some best practices. Interstitial ads should be placed during clear transition points in an app. Example, a next level or a next stage when a user is in an app. The other way an interstitial ad should be placed is when a user is not rapidly clicking in app elements. Some of the problematic implementations that we commonly notice are ads interrupting session when the user is tapping intensively, ads appearing when the user's next action is tapping on the screen, ads placed at start or exit of an app or after the user clicks back to exit an app, as well as multiple interstitials in a short period of time. So let's look at some common examples. Now, as we see the screen out here, in this particular example, a user clicks to get onto a particular app, sees the home screen of an app, and their next expected action is to tap onto the screen. But an interstitial ad pops up before a user can tap onto the action button in the screen, which could possibly lead to an accidental click. Another example of this could be that a user chooses an action in an app, the next page loads, and even the next page includes that a user needs to choose a particular action. But before the user can choose an action, an interstitial ad pops up, which again could lead to an accidental click. Another common example in interstitial ads as a policy violation is that a user chooses an action, an interstitial ad pops up then. On closing upon the interstitial ad, a user sees another interstitial ad or a recurring interstitial pattern. Upon this, again, could lead to a very bad user experience as well as accidental clicks. All right, so now that we've spoken a little about how interstitial ads could lead to policy violations or bad user experience, let's talk a little bit about policies that are around content. Please make sure that you do not monetize your app on content which is framed, mirrored, or not original content. The content you should be providing should be original and adding a lot of unique user value. Copyrighted material. The golden rule around this, if the content is not yours or if you do not have the legal rights to monetize upon it, please do not monetize it upon the same. Sexual content. As we all know, AdMob is a family-safe network and we do not allow monetization on any kind of sexual content. Again, a golden rule around this is that if you cannot view this content in front of your children, you should probably not be monetizing upon it. Explicit text. Google Ads may not be placed on pages with explicit text or extreme profanity. Examples include erotic stories, jokes or discussions, or excessive use of profanity. The last one being is violent content. Example includes, but are not limited to, bloodshed, fight scenes, and gruesome or freak accidents, as these are categorized as sensitive events and can lead to a bad user experience. All right, so now that we've spoken again on some of the reasons for common policy violations, let's talk about what do you do when you receive a particular message from the policy team. What should you be doing upon receiving a notification? Read the notification email, go through the AdMob Help Center. Please fix the violation not only on the flagged URL, but if you see that there are similar violations elsewhere in your app, and then submit an appeal. Some of our policy resources include email and in-product policy notifications, the Help Center, as well as one-on-one support for publishers who consistently meet the minimum revenue requirement. So that's all we have from a policy perspective and how you can keep your account in a good standing. Let's talk a little bit about some of the questions that we've received. And all right. So the first question we received through the forms was, what can I do to prevent invalid click activity on my account? So as spoken about earlier, what we recommend is that you constantly monitor your traffic, and you can do this by going ahead and using the custom URLs channel feature in the AdSense front end. This feature helps you understand on what kind of traffic are you receiving in particular pages in your app and which ad format is getting the majority number of clicks. You can also use Google Analytics as a second step to further segment your traffic and identify any kind of anomalies and go ahead and block it. How does Google decide on what action should be taken on a particular account? The way that the Google AdMob team decides on how a particular action is taken is based on the intent of the account. So the way we divide it is that we take actions that are app level and account level. So let's divide this further down, right? If in a particular app, we see that there are some violations, but the violations are fixable, we send out a warning message so that the violation can be fixed and the developer is educated about it. If we see otherwise that your traffic is good, but your app is completely violating our policies, we go ahead and only disable the app or suspend the app, but do not action on the account otherwise. The second piece around this is where we take account level actions, which are divided into warnings, suspensions, and disabling. Now, a common example of each scenario could be that we see that your apps are of good quality and are adding a lot of user value, but are receiving some portions of traffic that are leading to advertiser damage and invalid click activity. That's when we send you a warning letting you know that this is happening, and so that you can go ahead and block the source of invalid click activity. The second scenario, which includes a suspension, is when you can go ahead where your account is suspended for 30 days, and post 30 days, your account is automatically given back to you. This is a case where we see that you're adding a lot of value to the users and are creating some good quality apps, but a majority portion of your traffic is leading to invalid click activity and advertiser revenue damage. The last piece is an account disabling, which is the harshest action, is where your account is banned from serving AdMob ads anymore, and that your account is not in a good standing at all. The reason we take a disabling action is when we see that your apps are not of a good quality, as well as the traffic that your account is receiving is leading to a lot of invalid click activity, clearly leading to bad user experience as well as advertiser damage. So hope that helps on you understanding on how we take an action on a particular account. Moving on, let's now go on to live questions that we've received through the session. So another question that we've received through the live session is about AdMob disabling and suspension related. The question here is asking on what should a developer be doing on an account being suspended. So as per protocol, when your AdMob account is completely suspended, we do not expect any action from your end in terms of contacting us. Your account will be returned to you automatically after 30-day suspension. What is expected of you is to go ahead and understand the violation and fix it. So let's say, for example, your account has been suspended because there was a lot of invalid click activity on it. We expect you to identify the source of this invalid click activity and go ahead and block it so that your account is in a good standing going further, and so that there is no advertiser damage around it. This was one of the live questions we received. Going ahead, we will be sending you a link to the live stream, and in case you have any questions, please reach out to us through your support forums. Thank you.